Hey guys, Natasha Tessier here, owner of Dwell Realty and Design. I am down at our little condo on the beach, not Galveston. It's a little further south. I think the water's a little bit prettier down here, but it is a further drive. But today I wanted to talk to you about the top 10 reasons not to move to Texas and particularly Houston. Hey guys, thanks for joining. If you want to know anything and everything about the city of Houston, when to move, where to move, it is a huge, huge city. My job every day is helping people figure out how close they need to be to work, what schools they want to be in. Maybe they're retiring. They want the grandparents living on their property. Every single day, we get calls, text, emails, day, night, anytime. Reach out. We'd love to help you. Comment below, subscribe. It helps me to know how I can help you. If you have a question, please ask it below. Today, I thought I'd go over the top 10 reasons not to move to Texas and particularly Houston. So my first thing is going to be internet and more utilities. I hear from several clients that things are a lot more expensive. Now, electricity is a little bit hard to judge because are you in an older home with single pane windows or a brand new home that's way more energy efficient with spray foam? Are you in a 2,000 square foot home or 4,000 square foot home? That's a harder one, but I know one thing that tends to be higher than some of my clients is internet. I asked my husband, I don't do any of the internet stuff because I don't know, I'm just not very tech savvy, but I asked my husband and he said that we pay $100 a month. We have the highest speed, internet that you can have. We live on 2 acres, but I work from home and, we stream everything. And so that's $100 a month. Again, other places, I don't know, but I've heard that that's pretty high. Number 2 is going to be, of course, the weather. Let's just knock it out at the beginning. So let me start with about 7 to 8 months of the year. The weather here is amazing. Blue skies, sunny. We might get down to 30 in the winter. It's a cold 30 because of the humidity, but it's gorgeous. I walk every single day, not a ton of rain. It does rain more than like when we lived in San Antonio and some drier kind of deserty areas, which is what keeps all the trees so green and so pretty, but it's not like Seattle where it rains every day. I mean, I would say most days it doesn't rain. I would say you have sunshine over 300 days a year, but we do get occasional rainstorms. A couple weeks ago, we got crazy rain for a week straight. That's not as common, but in the humidity, I mean, there's no, for me, I've lived here most of my life. I was born and raised here. July and August are so hot and miserable. It's kind of like the people up north after your 5th month of snow, you're ready to be done. Ours doesn't last that long. We're about to hit June and it's still bearable at night. We're still in our 60s. In the shade, you're okay, but July and August, you're not okay. You have to be in a pool or in a lake or in the water. You're not going to want to be outside at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a July day. Usually by mid-September it breaks, and September to June it's really nice. I would say June is doable and bearable. July and August are not. The humidity, I don't know. My mom says that that's what's kept her looking young for so long. She's lived here most of her life. There is a lot of moisture in the air. And we used to live in San Antonio. I mean, you would have 30 or 90 days one summer over 100, no rain at all. So, it's dry. It's a little cooler at night, but it's kind of dusty, deserty kind of feel. So it just depends on, it's hot. Texas is hot. You can't say that Dallas is not hot. It's all hot. That's just what it is. We are a little bit more humid though, closer to the coast. I'm down by the coast right now though, and I love it because I'm near the ocean. But yes, there's humidity in the air. Okay, number 3, bugs. Snakes, bugs, all those things. It's kind of funny on the mosquito front because my in-laws live up in Montana, and when we go up there for the summer, the mosquitoes are crazy. I thought it was just a Texas thing. So mosquitoes, but I guess there are roaches. Every once in a while, I'll see a roach in the house. We put this little stuff from Amazon under our sinks and it goes away, but people are freaked out over the bugs here. Now, snakes, I've probably seen 2 snakes my whole life, but they do freak me out and I don't like them, but they're not that common. However, some of the neighborhoods lately have been seeing on their Facebook pages, they're seeing a lot of snakes. Most of them are not dangerous. If you look up the statistics of people injured by a snake or whatever, it's very, very, very slim. But if you don't like those, it may be a deal breaker for you. Okay, number 4, property taxes. We do not have a state income tax. It's awesome. So if you're working, and like a lot of my California clients and even Washington and New York, some of them are 10, 12% of their income is going to their state income tax. Some people don't even realize this when I talk to them. I'm like, okay, go look at your pay stub. And then they don't realize that a big, huge chunk of that's going to their state. We don't have a state income tax. So if you're doing, well financially, that 10%, let's just say you make 500,000. Okay, that's 50,000. You make 100,000, that's 10,000, whatever that you're paying in state income taxes that you won't pay here. But our property taxes are high. They range from 1.7, which is what the neighborhood I'm in. I purposely found a neighborhood with low property taxes, to 3.7 is the highest I've seen. Now, the new communities all have higher property taxes because of this. It's called a MUD, a municipal utility district. So the developer goes in, pays for the infrastructure, pays for all the water and the sewage and all that stuff. And then that MUD is paid off over time by the residents. It will go down over time. I used to live in Wood Trace. I think it was 3.5 when I lived there, and I think it's 3.2 now. It will go down over time. That's why the older neighborhoods, they've paid off their MUD. They don't have that anymore. So your tax rate can range. Now, I did hear some really cool news, and I will follow up. I did a short on it the other day, but it just passed the House this week so they have a law here right now that your property tax can only go up by 10% every year. So 500,000, it can go up to 550 next year. 550, keep adding on. There's a law that passed the House, going to the Senate. I mean, they made a ruling, I think it was Tuesday night. I'm at the end of May right now, 2023, that nothing can be changed. So it's either all in or all out, and it's supposed to be gone. If it goes through, it'll happen on June 11th, which is my birthday. So we're going to pray for a good birthday that they make this go through. So it's lowering percentages with the school district. I think it was 1.17 down to 1.04. Not that big of a deal, but a little bit of a deal. The big thing is that 10% increase every year would go down to 3.5% max. So they can't keep gouging you every year, 10%, 10%, 10%. It'll go way down to 3.5%. And that would help everybody struggling with this property tax deal. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed. I will keep you guys posted on June 11th. Okay, the next thing, I got my little list over here. Okay, public transportation. In the suburbs, it's really non-existent. You have to have a car. It's not a very walkable city. It's spread out. It's huge. Now, if you live down in the Heights, very fun, trendy place to live. A lot of young families, young entrepreneurs just out of college, and you can walk to funky shops and restaurants. Very individual, very unique. Midtown is very walkable. River Oaks all down by West U. I mean, those are all walkable, but as you get to the suburbs, it is not walkable. Now, there are a few areas right on the outskirts of the Woodlands that I know of, a few pockets of neighborhoods where you can walk to the grocery and walk to Market Street and that stuff. But generally speaking, it's not a very walkable city. I don't know what the score is, but it's not, I guess it would be based on each suburb. But the public transportation too, I mean, we have the Metro, which is a bus system. And then downtown, you have the Metro Light, which I think is 7 miles long. It goes from Midtown to Herman Park, all through there. And that's a light rail. That's cool, but not for people who are coming out from the suburbs in. So just know you'll have to have a car. It's not a very walkable city. Number 6. Okay, if you're not a meat eater, of course, you can find vegan and all that stuff here, but Texas is really big into its meat, its brisket. You're going to find huge steaks, huge barbecue, great places. There's one of my favorite places in downtown Tomball, Tejas Chocolatier, which is kind of a random name. I believe the wife used to do chocolate, then he started making barbecue, and everybody loved the barbecue. So anyway, and now they have a Tejas burger, which is brisket burgers. I like meat, obviously, born and raised in Texas. Lots of hunting, lots of meat. So if you're one of those people that is very vegan, like small plate, you can find it. We just got a bunch of Kavas that I think bought out the Zoes. So you can find, my daughter and I love to go there, but it's not very prevalent, especially in the suburbs again. So we do have a lot of Whole Foods and those kind of things down in the Galleria and stuff. The only Whole Foods that I know of in like all of Northwest, so like Cypress, Tomball, Magnolia, is in the Woodlands. And the only Trader Joe's I know was in the Woodlands. I know there's another Trader Joe's over in Cinco Ranch at Centera, but just pockets. Now there's Costco's in every area. You know, there's Costco in Cypress, there's Costco at Conroe Woodlands, there's one in Katy, they're building a new one in Tomball. So Costco's everywhere. But as far as like small health food, there is a restaurant if you're into health foods called Seasons Harvest. It's in kind of the Cypress Tomball area, and it's a family that owns like a little farm, and they do farm to table. So there are some cute little places that have really good food, but generally speaking, lots of meat, lots of steak, lots of hunting, those kind of things. Number 7 is if you don't like friendly people. Okay, so you can probably tell from my YouTube channel, I'm pretty friendly, but some of my clients move here and they're like, Natasha, people brought us cookies. Are they okay? And I'm like, oh yeah, they didn't, do anything bad to your cookies or anything like that. Just not, Texas is so friendly. They're going to invite you into your garage for a beer. You're going to walk down the street and get to know all your neighbors. There's constantly kids playing in the yard. If you need something, every single neighbor will be helping, standing on your doorstep. It's just a very, very friendly environment. And for some people, that makes them feel uncomfortable. Obviously, you don't have to go into their garage and have a beer. But if you don't want to be around friendly people, which I don't know who wouldn't, Texas may not be the place for you. Number 8 is the fact that it is a booming city. Okay, so there's a lot of hustle bustle and a lot of running around and big businesses, big corporations. I've heard another corporation is moving here from California. There's just all sorts of crazy going on. So when you go into the city or you get on like I-45 or I-10 or whatever, then you got to be ready to go. Like the Texans will run you over. The left lane is for passing only. And it's a lot more. I live out in the outskirts, and so it's a very slow pace. But when I go see my parents in the city, I remember how I grew up, and it's a lot. It's a lot of people commuting, getting to work, going to work, servicing. Our economy is good, lots of jobs. All those are positives, but it is 3rd, 4th largest city in the nation. So it is a big, busy city. Now with that, you get a lot of positives. You get all the sports teams and the theaters and the museum district and the Nassau. Tons to do, and one of your Galveston and all that stuff. But it is a big hustle bustle city. You can get away from that. That's what me and my husband did. He's from the middle of Montana. He wanted space. So we have 2 acres. He wants even more acreage, but we're kind of away from everybody just once we get home on our 2 acres. So, and we're 25 minutes from the Woodlands, but if you live in the heart of the Woodlands, you're going to be in the middle of that hustle bustle all the time. Number 9 is that it is generally speaking a red state. Now, you can find a little bit of both. The city of Houston votes liberal, more on the liberal side. The outskirts, Montgomery County, is very red. Some people come to me and they say, I don't want to be, not very many, but a few, I don't want to be, near churches or where everybody is conservative. So I wouldn't go to Montgomery County if I were that person, because in Montgomery County, it is very conservative. And I've been told it's one of the most conservative counties in the state. And you do have churches on every corner. Most people, it's not, do you go to church? It's where do you guys go to church? I just went to my son's high school graduation last week. Both the valedictorian and salutatorian, constantly about Jesus. We said a prayer. We obviously said the pledge. Our kids say the Pledge of Allegiance. We say a pledge to the Texas flag. There's "In God We Trust," signs all throughout our high schools and even in the junior high and elementary schools. So it is, for the most part, especially like your Tomball, Montgomery, outskirts, Magnolia, obviously, it is very, very conservative. So if that is, something that you don't like now, you can go into the city of Houston and you can find, and Austin is also very liberal. But if you're looking for the suburbs and you like a conservative Christian area, then this might be the fit for you. The last thing is construction. So again, in the outskirts, it's gotten so much better, the construction. When we first moved back here, my husband and I, it was early 2000. He commuted, I think it was 8 miles from our house. We lived in the Memorial City area in Memorial, and he commuted to the Med Center downtown. I think it was 8 miles or 12 miles or something. Sometimes it would take him 2 hours. But since then, they have expanded I-10, they've expanded 59, everything is expanded, but you will find times that you will run into traffic. Now, I don't commute in, and I know some people that that do. And my husband commutes out from Montgomery to Tomball. It's about 25 minutes. He enjoys the drive. It's quiet. It's kind of on back roads, but the traffic can get bad in certain areas. The Woodlands can get congested. It's a lot of people during certain times. But if you go to the Woodlands Mall at 10 o'clock, you're not going to hit any traffic. You'll be there, depending on where you're coming from, in no time. But during traffic times, and there's construction. I mean, there's growth. There's a lot of new homes. I mean, if you're in a new neighborhood, you're probably going to have homes being built all around you. There's a lot of booming economy. So you kind of have to be ready for that. 105 is an example. One of my clients came in and they were in the middle of the 105 expansion. 105 is the freeway that runs south of Lake Conroe in Montgomery. And we just did a huge expansion. I think it's done or almost done. It's for the better because it's like a 60 mile per hour, 2 lanes on each side, and there was always accidents. So now there's medians all the way down and turning lanes, and it's 10 times better. But during that time, it would get backed up, here and there, and you'd get stuck in traffic. So if you don't want to be in traffic, maybe go further out. I don't know. If you have questions or comments, please comment below. It really helps me to know who you are, where you're coming from. It might help me with a future video. If you have questions, I'm happy to help. Reach out anytime. And please call, text, fill out our form below so we kind of know who you are, where you're from, and what you need. And then we help out people every day. You can call, text, email, day, nights, weekends. We're here to help you. It's mostly just me. I don't have this huge team. There's another few YouTubers that you call in and you don't even talk to the person that is doing these videos, but you would talk to me and you would work with me for the most part. I have an assistant who helps me with contracts, and I have an assistant that helps me with showing some houses, but really everything is done through me. So if you're looking for that kind of individual feel, I would love to help you. I'm born and raised here too. A couple others just moved here and I feel like aren't giving out all truthful information, but nonetheless, I'm happy to help, and I hope you have a blessed day.